machine. I'm doing a simple sock for this demonstration, so I'm just going to do a hung hem. I've got 9 rows knit. I'm going to knit 6 more, so a total of 15. And I am going to hang my hem. So I'm going to stop now, take the weight off my machine, and hang the hem. Since we all have done this many, many times, I'm going to stop the camera and we'll be back when we go on to the leg of the sock. So I've hung the hem of my sock and I'm cranking around the first row. Now I am doing my sock with the heel spring on all of the time, which is the way I normally do socks. What I want you to take notice of right now, before we go much farther, I want you to stop your machine so that you can look at where your tension is. And I'm gonna rotate this camera down so you can see this. This is where, on the true knit, this is where I adjust the tension. And to adjust the tension on a true knit, you're going to take an Allen wrench and you're going to turn it. It'll be opposite threads. So instead of lefty-loosey, lefty makes it go down. See it moving very slightly? There we go, you can see that. So what I want you to notice is the place that I am starting this sock is so that I can just barely see the third line right there, right here. I can see it from the angle I'm sitting at. I'm going to loosen it just a little bit more. I'll loosen it. Oops, that's the wrong way. Okay. Just barely see it. Right there. That's where I'm starting my sock. So I have knit the hem and I'm starting on the leg of the sock. Normally, I would do 65 rows for a leg of a sock. This is for a man's sock. And I would start my heel. But on this sock, with the adjustments for the instep, I'm going to do it as if I were knitting a pre-heel, if I were ribbing this, and I knit a pre-heel with no ribbing. Well, I'm going to add 10 rows to the sock that I'm knitting to make it a little bit longer length leg. Okay, and I'm going to do it at this tension number 3, and that's going to become significant. So I want you right now, before you go any further, to look at your tension adjustment and determine where it is set right now, because that's going to be one of the things we address when we start the heel. Okay, reset my row counter. 65 rows. All right, this is where I would normally stop my leg of my sock. But instead of stopping here, I'm going to add a pre-heel, which is going to consist of 10 more rows. So if you are doing a plain sock like I am, that just means there's no ribber to take off, nothing. You're just going to continue 10 more rows. So 10 more rows takes me to 75. And I'm going to stop at C. When I stop at C, I'm going to find my tool that I just dropped on the floor. Oops, it's not that one. Where's the other half? Very unhandy that I broke my tool. No. Okay, we'll use this one. We're going to lift up. All right, we're going to count from where the cylinder markings are on the sides, which are going to be D over here and B over here. I'm going to count 5 needles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to start picking up the 6th one. And I'm going to go around here. Now I'm going to pay attention over here to my other pink mark here, where my finger is. I'm going to count 5 needles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pick up the 6th one. Those are going to be the needles I have in hold on this heel of my sock. That's the first adjustment. The second adjustment is that we're going to take our tool that we use to adjust the tension, and we're going to open up the tension so that the indicator is halfway between the line it's near, which was number 4, 1, 2, 3, number 3, and number 4. So halfway between 3 and 4. I'm going to crank it open a little bit. Now keep in mind, we've done this whole sock with the heel spring on purpose. And we're going to continue doing that. The whole sock with the heel spring on. So now we're just going to continue on. My tension is opened up a little bit. And I'm doing an extra long heel. An extra width on both sides. And we're just going to now knit our heel as we normally would. So I will be back when the heel is complete. So I am completing the heel of this sock. And I'm back doing my increases. And I just wanted to hop on here and say that we picked up 5 stitches beyond the halfway mark. And we want to, when we are doing our increases, we want to knit past that mark as well. So we're going to knit back just like we did when we started. We went 5 beyond. We're going to knit the other direction when we added the needles back in. We're going to go to say 4 back there. So 4 past, so that we don't end up with the exact same number as we started. This helps prevent that vent hole where the heel starts. So we're at number 3 over there and 3 over here, and we're gonna do a couple more rows, and then we're gonna continue on with the foot of our sock. But before we do that, we want to stop at the tension mark again. Grab your Allen wrench if you're on a true knit. But at this point, you're going to raise your tension back to the place it was when you started. Now, the place I was I could just barely see line number 3 on my machine. And that's where I want to be when I knit the foot of my sock now that we've done this other adjustment. So I'm going to knit 75 rows for the sock, and then I'm going to do the toe. And all right, so this is the sock that we just knitted, and you can see that the heel is quite a bit deeper than a regular sock. And I'm going to measure this first, and then I'm going to show you. Pull this up here. Okay, now this sock is straight off the machine, so it hasn't been blocked. So it's a little stretched yet, but you can see you got a good 6 inches. So that means if we were measuring the circumference of the foot, it would be a 12-inch instep. Now, that's pretty good amount of space. I had my husband try this on, and it actually fits him very nicely. He's got a very deep instep. Okay, so this is a sock knit with the same settings on the machine, except we did not change the tension for the heel, and we did not add extra rows. So you can see it gives you quite a lot more space. If I measure this foot, and I'm measuring it along the heel increases and decreases, it gives you a full inch difference. This one measures a little over 5, we'll say 5. So this one would be a 10-inch circumference, and this one with our adjustments are a 12-inch circumference. So it makes a big difference. The other thing I want you to notice, the seam and the toe, if we match up where the increases and decreases happen, those match up perfectly. So you can see exactly how much this is increasing the heel depth. And then the extra 10 rows up here before we did the hem. So this was my 65 row leg, and this is my 75 row leg. So there you go. Great little trick to know. The biggest problem I have with this trick is remembering to, number one, change the tension at the beginning of the heel, and number two, put it back at the other side of it. So put a little note by your workstation or something, or on your pattern to remind you. But there you go. 2 simple tricks to increase the depth of your instep. Change the tension and add in 10 extra needles, 5 on each side. Happy knitting!